Do you want to know how to sand that wedge shape airfoil into your balsa wood fins on a model rocket? That's what I'm going to cover in this video.
Welcome to Advanced Construction Videos, where we show you how to tackle rocketry, building techniques, and more. On our website, we sell kits, motors, building supplies, and electronics. So come and learn, shop, build, and fly when you visit us at apogeerockets.com.
Hi, I'm Tim Van Milligan from Apogee Components. Today I'm going to talk to you about a wedge-shaped fin like you see on a lot of scale model rockets. This is a scale model of a rocket called the Black Brant. It's a very popular rocket. It's used by NASA a lot. It's actually made in Canada. But this model rocket, what's unique about it is the fins have a double wedge on them. So the front edge is nice and sharp, then there's a flat section in the middle, and then it's a wedge shape on the rear of the fin as well. Now this is a very hard thing to do. I would call it like a skill level 4 technique, particularly when the fin is very thin like this one right here. And the way we're going to do this is, well, first I recommend making a pattern of the fin and showing where the high points are. So I've already sanded this fin right here and I've already marked it. So right here in the middle, it's nice and flat, but it comes to a point here and to a point right here. And so then the transition point is right along this line. And so I recommend, at first, to make it easier to mark the fin, make a template, and then just lay it along the side, and then just, you can lay your fin on it like this. And you can see I already made some tick points where the high points are. So there's one there, one there, one there, and one there. When you do this, use pencil. I'm going to use a marker so that you can see it on camera. But when you use marker, what happens when you paint the rocket, the solvents in the paint attack the ink, and then the ink floats to the surface of your paint, and then it just ruins your paint. So that's why you want to use a pencil. But for today, I'm going to use a marker so you can see it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect the points on my fin. There's one, and you can see, the wedge, the double wedge shape that this is going to be. And then, of course, you got to do the other side. And this one here, I can't see, so I need to bring it around. Here we go. Put on my glasses to make it easier to see. Okay, just like that. Next, we need to find the middle point on the edge of the fin. There goes my rocket. And I broke a fin. Well, I'm replacing a fin right now. This trick came from Martin McKee, who's our product developer here at Apogee. And what he does is gets a nice thick piece of cardstock, and we're going to lay that next to the fin. Now this is not half of the thickness of the fin. It's actually thicker than half of the fin. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as a straight edge to draw a line on the fin like this. And this is probably going to be really hard to see, but there's a line right here. And then I'm going to flip it over and do it again. So what I'm going to end up with is 2 lines on the base of my fin. And then right in the middle of that is going to be the high point. So I need to do that on the trailing edge and then on the leading edge as well. So make sure that this stays nice and flat because we want this line to be flat. There's one, flip it over. You know, my wood here is bowing a little bit. So that's why I want to press it down hard. Make sure that it doesn't bow. Okay, so I got 2 lines. Yeah, one of them does not look very well. So I'm going to do it again. Yeah, close enough. All right, so our next step is we're going to take some masking tape and we're going to do one edge at a time. We can do both sides at the same time. So I'm going to take my tape and put it on the fin, and this is going to protect this flat area from being sanded. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. Just regular masking tape will work just fine. And I'm just going to tear off this excess here because it kind of gets in the way. Okay, so now we're going to start sanding, and I'm going to start with some really rough grit sandpaper here and a sanding tee. And just wrap it around and then just hold it on. And we want to keep this edge parallel with the tape line. So I'm going to hold it like that, and you can kind of see what I'm doing. And then you can see it's also at an angle here. So we're going to start sanding. And then we're going to check our edge to see how much we've taken off. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. So we're doing both sides at the same time. And then also notice my fingers right here. They're kind of parallel with the edge, and they're giving a little bit of pressure. So there's an even amount of pressure along the entire edge. So that's very important as well to support that, because otherwise, you know, you could be sanding here, and if your fingers are here, you're actually bending the wood, and then you're going to get a rounded airfoil instead of a wedge shape, you know, a flat wedge. So again, support that balsa wood from underneath. So when you're sanding, you get a nice and flat surface. And again, I got it tilted a little bit so that I'm taking off more wood over here than up here at the top. And you have to be careful. I can see right here where the tape, I'm starting to get into the tape. That means I've not angled it enough. I still got a long ways to go here, but I'm into the tape here. So what I would recommend is either replace the tape or put another piece of tape on top of it to protect that area. Yeah, I'm not doing too well on this one because it's a little bit thin right here and not thin enough right here. Like I said, this is a hard, you know, high skill level task. See, now you can, I don't know if you can see on my edge, I can just barely see both of my lines right there. And when I get right into the middle, that means I'm getting really close. Okay, so I'm pretty close now. So now I'm going to switch to some finer grit sandpaper. So this is going to be smoother. It won't be taking off as much, but I want to get a nice smooth surface. Okay, so it's nice and sharp there at the front. Yeah, so I'm going to tear this off. And we'll do the back edge. Yeah, this one's going much faster. It's a smaller area, and I'm getting really thin right there, so I want to avoid that. Put more pressure, use your fingers down here to apply more pressure where you want to take off more. Okay. Now, after I get this off, okay, so now this edge here is very delicate. So what we do is we're going to take some, this is water thin super glue, and I've got a wick on it. And I just double check to make sure it's coming out. And we're going to use this like a paintbrush and paint on super glue, and then wipe it off as soon as you put it on, because we don't want it to cure while it's thick. We want it to cure when it's thin. So right now it's very thick, and then wipe it off. And that will kind of protect that edge, stiffen it up. And we'll do the same thing on the front edge. Sticking. Super glue is making some fumes, making my eyes tear up. Whew. Okay. Now, a lot of people, if you look at this one is not very good because it's like too thin right here. There is a way to fix it, and that's using some filler putty on that surface to, to thicken it up again, and then you would sand it off. But this side, I think it's just this corner right here, but this side actually looks pretty good. Then we'll just sand the entire surface here. Okay, so now, if you look at this fin, don't look at my cracked one, but you can't see the line where that fat part starts. If you want to see it, and a lot of people do, here's a little trick that I've created. So I've taken this template right here, and this is the high point right here, and these are going to be our edges. and I've cut this out, and I've got this piece right here. So that's just the middle piece. And we're going to take this and we're going to glue it on to the wood like that. And just the edge of the paper is going to make this edge stand out when you paint it. What I recommend to put this on is get some spray adhesive. So I'm just going to spray this, just a little light coat, just enough to get it tacky. And then we're going to, just position it onto the rocket where it should go. Right there like that. And then to make this permanent, we're going to, again, paint it with the super glue. And then the super glue will wick down through the fibers of the paper and attach it to the wood. Okay, so then at this point you will sand and paint as normal. And on this fin right here, this one has just been with the super glue on it, but on this side I've actually gone ahead and primed it and then sanded it again. And you can definitely tell where the high points are because the paper just stands out just that little bit. And when you put the primer on, it's going to fill along that gap there, so it's going to be just enough to where you can see it, but it's not going to be, when you rub your finger over it, you can tell it's there, but it's not going to be like something big and fat is standing up. It's very thin. So that's what I would do if I was making a rocket like this. Don't bust your fins off. Now I got to repair this rocket. So my name again is Tim Van Milligan. This is the Apogee Advanced Construction Rocketry Workshop. May the winds be light, may the skies be blue, and may all your rockets fly straight and true. Okay, so bonus here. Typically, when you bust a fin off like this, you can line it up. Be careful not to move anything too much. You can see it's gone together just like that. Make sure it's straight. And then we're going to take, again, this was where this little tip really helps. We're just going to put a drop of glue on there and wipe it off again. See, it's wicked through because it stuck my finger here. There we go. All right, and then, yeah, it's already a lot stronger. That was too much glue. All right, so the fin is glued back on. It's fairly smooth, but there is that gap right there. And I wouldn't use super glue to fill that gap. I would go with the fin sealer. We use the Elmer's wood filler, and then just put that in there, sand it down, and then just mask everything else off and give it that one fin, just a new coat of paint. It might not be perfect depending on how well you stuck it together, but the rocket is still flyable. So there you go. So that's your bonus tip here in this episode.